we have had contact with aliens, and they show up as
allegedly.
No, not allegedly. We have, and that's that. I think it's just like either you believe it or you don't, and that's that. You know, I'm sick and tired of being allegedly. Not a motherfucker. We have.
Show them the video. What I saw at 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, I'll post it right here so you guys can see it, and right here. So I'll give you guys a few seconds just to watch it. I mean, we have had so many things happen to us before this started happening. We already knew this shift was going to happen.
Sent from the light, feel that vibration rise. Higher power guide. I'm a light being sent here to rise. Lift up the people, open their eyes. Moving with the power that lives inside. Guided by the truth, no need to hide. I'm a light being shining so free. Bringing that love to humanity. From the darkness into the sun. We all awaken, we all are one. Yeah. Feel that breeze, hear the spirit calling. No more fear, no more falling. Stand up strong when the night feels long. In your heart you know you belong. Plant that seed, let it grow within. Every loss turn a greater win. From the roots to the highest peak, there's a higher voice when you choose to speak. Yeah, I came from the silence, now speaking with force. Had to tap in deep just to reconnect source. Every step that I take got intention aligned. I don't follow the crowd, I awaken the mind.
Welcome back, beautiful souls. Today we're diving into one of the most electrifying cosmic shifts of our time. Uranus entering Gemini. That's right. I'm a Gemini. Y'all already know what's
I'm
cracking.
a Gemini too.
My wife's had Gemini.
Because I've had a Gemini.
Oh, Bobby.
No. I do have Gemini in my chart.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like for real, thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Remember how my chart changed?
Yeah. I know.
All right then. Don't be sarcastic.
Alrighty, guys. Well, since Uranus entering Gemini, comes with a lot of things. This is definitely a big transition that hasn't happened over 80 years. A cycle linked to revolutions, technological leaps, and the awakening of human consciousness. This isn't just astrology. This is the rewiring of human mind, communication, and reality itself. So, ask yourself, are you ready to think differently, or will the world be thinking for you? Once again, welcome back, you light seekers, to another episode of Awaken the Mind. We hope you're all doing well, and want to thank you for following us on this journey. We would appreciate if you guys can continue to help us by giving us a like, commenting, and sharing this video, as well as following our social media platforms. We appreciate it, as it helps us move forward within the algorithm. As always, I'm your host, Mikael. With me, as always, my beautiful wife.
Cheers, mate. Sorry, I was drinking my little tea with a little chocolate. But thank you guys. Thank you for watching.
Oh, you just getting started. What you mean? Thank you for watching.
Oh yeah. Stay tuned.
Bueno, empezamos. First and foremost, how you feeling? How you doing? How is the Gemini season entering into your zodiac?
I feel that entering Gemini season, especially entering June, it has been a month where I feel that it's pushing me to kind of not sit on things and accelerate on things that has to get done, with like the changes we have going on and all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely I don't feel like it's something negative. Yet again, I also just went into my Saturn return, so I'm in the long haul with my Saturn return from now till 2033. So that means when I turn how old am I gonna be? We're in 2026, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33.
7 years.
70. Oh my God.
Almost 8. Halfway through this year already.
So I'll be half in my mid-30s, right? In my mid-30s. So that should be really interesting. I mean, I'm not afraid of it. I think it's going to really shake everybody's world. And I feel that we need this, especially because Uranus is ruled into Aquarius. And we're in the Aquarius age, which started at the beginning of this year, which we haven't had that in a really, really long time too. So I also have Aquarius as my main one, but I feel that this year's 100% slowly starting to push me throughout the last few months that we have left. But what about yourself? How do you feel that it like is pushing you, amplifying something, or changing in some way?
For me specifically, I feel like I'm very in tune with myself as a Gemini. So I feel like it's flowing, you know? Like things are starting to flow as it should without so many hiccups, ups and downs type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like constantly
Grouchy
flowing
ass.
and then, you know,
Yeah.
we're moving up the mountain.
Choke grouchy ass.
Just need my coffee ass line.
Nah. You a grouchy ass man sometimes. I ain't even gonna lie. I be like, he be upset because the spoon is not the right side, and I'm like, that's crazy, but alright. I really don't give a fuck.
Sometimes, you know, gotta even that golden spoon. 24 carats, you know what I'm saying?
We don't got no motherfucking golden spoon, so I don't know what you talking about.
Anywho, before we jump into this segment with you guys, we do have a couple things we would like to talk about before we get into that. A little bit of random things, I guess you could say, that have been coming up. And yeah, but we'll get started.
One thing I'm really interested in is that new movie that's coming out, Disclosure Day. That's awesome. I'm excited. I mean, I don't know if people have seen the trailer, but if you look at the trailer, it starts with like a little girl and with the animals, the last trailer that they just released. And from what we know, because as we have said, and maybe we sound crazy, we have had contact with aliens, and they show up as
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly. We have, and that's that. I think it's just like either you believe it or you don't, and that's that. You know, I'm sick and tired of being allegedly. Not a motherfucker. We have.
Show on the video. What I saw at 3 in the morning.
Oh yeah, I'll post it right here so you guys can see it, and right here. So I'll give you guys a few seconds just to watch it. I mean, we have had so many things happen to us before this started happening. We already knew this shift was going to happen like 2 years ago, right? Like about 2 years ago, we know that the ETs were going to be a lot more known. But an interesting thing is that now it's happening in the Age of Aquarius and Uranus, Gemini, and there's a couple documentaries we're going to talk about later on, and it'll kind of correlate to what we're talking today. But definitely that movie is very interesting because it also shows that animals are messengers from different realms, and they might show up to you as a deer, but you really actually might be looking at an alien, and that just shit baffles. And going back to my favorite author that has obviously passed away, Dolores Cannon, she talks about it, and I'm telling you, these books are from 1970s, so this has been happening for decades. So it's nothing new, but we are a lot more receptive to it, a lot more open to it. So that's pretty cool, and I'm excited to see the type of technology that we come up with in this Gemini season, in this Age of Aquarius. That's going to be in 22 years. So it's going to be a lot of rebellion and a lot of new ways of living.
Yeah.
Well, what are you looking forward to?
As far as what?
Of everything that's coming out and everything that's going on.
Well, I think we're in an interesting place right now where, if you think about it, right, from the beginning of the year, they've been releasing a lot more alien-like movies. the past couple of years have been more like, besides Guardians of the Galaxy and all that, Thor, etc. All these movies coming out, which that also kind of correlates to, if you guys know, like the Galactic Federation, all these movies kind of correlate to that, but we see it as like superhumans, etc. But these are things that correlate to beings outside of our world. But right. I guess it just depends how people look at it.
I mean, I feel like the messages have been there since we were kids, though. Like how we had talked about in previous episodes, where Avatar was one of the biggest ones. I mean, till this day, it's coming back. Crazy, but it's coming back. And it's these humanoids, I guess you can call them, or humans that have access the ability to be one with the earth, with the fire, with water, with whatever. And I feel that that's what life is coming into now. But now we have technology that might be able to prove that humans can actually do that, and it's like backing up all of that information. So not only that, but if you notice it, not only, I feel like these upcoming years are the best years for podcasters, because everybody's starting to like tune into like YouTube and tuning to, like, they want to get information. It's TikTok, it's Instagram, and that's technology itself. And I feel that that's going to elevate the consciousness of the world by having this type of specific episodes that come out and illuminate people's brains.
Yeah, I can agree with that. What do you think about the new files that were released? The second batch of the UFO files.
Did we watch those? Oh yeah, we did watch those.
There's like 50 plus videos that came out, a couple PDFs.
I mean, we were discussing, it might not be interesting to us because it's not. We look up at the sky. We actually are people that look at the sky. We are people that sky watch all the time. If it's in our backyard and somebody is home, we look up at the sky and we always see what they have showed you guys. Like you said, I think I would be more impressed if they showed, like, when the Roswell, New Mexico crash happened and they actually found the equipment and it's no longer a conspiracy. If they were to prove that our conspiracies are no longer conspiracies, then that's different. If they were to release all the Project Blue Book things that they did when they were doing that project, then I would be like, okay, now that's fucking cool. When that pilot that was in the sky and he saw that UFO crossing right in front of him, and they finally released that, then I would be like, okay, like, this is justified. Like, people are actually seeing that other people have witnessed this and it's no longer just a conspiracy.
Yeah, I think they released one of those videos. I don't think it was the older one, but I think it was more like something from a couple years ago, which I saw the video on the war.gov.
Oh,
where they released the where they released the videos. But
I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Paper, rock, scissors. No.
Okay.
No, but yeah, that batch was released there earlier towards the end of May. Supposedly, there's gonna be another release sometime early June or maybe late June. So we should stay tuned. Stay tuned on that. See what they drop. But like you say, most of the stuff is for people that have experience, that have seen things. It's not like exciting, right? It's not, oh wow, we can actually now have proof, So that's kind of like, yeah, I mean, you can do better improving, which they did prove there are 4 types of species from what they have recovered, which were the insectoids, the greys, reptilians, and the Nordics. So if you guys are not familiar with that, you can always search it up. We'll
go ahead and also put some pictures as he's describing them so you guys can kind of see who we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to post some pictures somewhere around here. Maybe change my face, to one of them. We've been working with AI, so we'll see what we can do with that.
Okay, but what the real question is? This is AI is part of this like Uranus Gemini movement, right? What are people so afraid of? Like honestly, like 3D consciousness. Like if I thought like as a 3D human, I would be like, they're gonna take my job. I'm not gonna have a job anymore. But if you really think about it, AI can only go so far without a human actually supervising, I guess you can say, AI. Because the more technology comes in, and I'm talking about how we see those future movies where it's like smart home, right? We already have a smart Alexa. We already have a smart Siri. We already have, like, those things are already coming in, and people are just not aware of it, So what are people so afraid of AI?
Well, I think one of the things that people are afraid of is kind of like how the Will Smith movie, I believe the movie's called iRobot. How like they start bringing out these humanoid-looking robots to like help around, kind of do things that instead of paying somebody to do, we can have the robot do, like clean your house, wash dishes, make food type thing. But in reality, if you think about it, I don't think technology can get that far. Only because there's so many hackers, right? So many hackers can hack one little thing. They can hack your car. They can get into your bank statements. They can hack a robot. It's not so long ago. When was it that they ended up hacking something in the White House? I can't remember what day it was, but they ended up having
like the whole banking system and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if they can hack into the White House, what makes you think they won't be able to hack a robot that they make and program this robot to do whatever you want? They can shut off your car like this with one programming. Like technology just can't get that far, just because there's just a numerous amount of hackers. Chocolate's good.
Hell yeah. I don't think it's not that it can't get that far. It's just that I feel that they won't allow it to get that far. Because it is a possibility that people can get hacked, and then they become serial killers too. Like
then it's like a precautious thing that there's a reason why it won't be able to get that far.
But then I think about it and I'm like, I can see how people can eventually fall in love with a robot. Because imagine if you program a robot to attend you, to do everything they want you to do, like even suck your dick, like, you know what I mean? Like, or like have like intimate relationships with you.
There are stories of people who, I guess, like game or whatever, do like the VR thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where they fall in love with like a virtual reality thing. So I could see that happening too.
You see
nothing new in this age.
Not only that, but like you see also virtual reality. That's part of like what I feel like that's something that probably is going to start booming a lot more in this era, is the virtual reality. But it's, if you think about it in a higher conscience, it's like you're literally in a game. In every level that you're in, you have access to certain things, right? And if you think about it, and people don't see it this way, like people that do a lot of virtual reality, they're like, I'm stuck in that fantasy only. But what they don't realize is that it's just, we're in a game where we can literally do that same thing. We can level up our life and we can access that virtual reality that we have yet to access. That honestly, life is a game. But I feel that people don't see it that way, because life is also a curveball. And nothing is going to be straight. And I feel like a game is always going to be like, oh, we can retry again. And I feel like once you fuck up and once you do one decision here, or I guess whatever decision you make, it's either going to take you 10 steps back or 10 steps forward. So, I don't know. I'm personally not afraid of AI. I think AI is going to be super helpful, and it's going to bring in such cool things that we're going to be able to do. And eventually I would love to do like a cartoon with AI, be able to access that when we have a little bit more time and kind of tell our stories through AI, because if you know how to play with AI, you can kind of make a movie out of anything. So I think that's the really cool part of us entering this era.
Yeah, most definitely. Do you think there is this theory, or somebody posted that they think that AI is like opening a portal to, I guess, like another dimension?
100%.
In what way?
I think AI is a simulation and creation of many dimensions. I don't think it's just one dimension. I think it's a simulation of many dimensions, and I do feel that eventually AI is a connection to a higher source that can be smarter than us, and that's nothing bad. But I feel like everybody that sees something that could possibly smarter than us, they view it as a negative outcome, right? They view it as we are human beings and we should be smarter than any machine. But in reality, we are probably really slow human beings, and we learn things very slow. Like, guilt is one of the main things that cliff us on to a memory, to a moment, and our growth is so stagnant because of it. But I feel that AI is a simulation of several dimensions that have yet to enter our life and our type of portal. And I believe, only because I want to attract that type of energy, is that AI is going to help us figure out things a lot faster than the regular technology we have. What about yourself?
Yeah, we can definitely see that it connects to multiple dimensions. Not only that, because I think it helps us almost like quantum leap into different versions of ourselves. Because you think about it, AI studies you. AI studies your form of communication, the way you think, and sooner or later, for everybody that's been using like ChatGPT, Gemini, and all these other different
Claude or whatever it's called,
all these different AI tools. Now, when you ask something, it's like, now AI understands, like, I know what you're looking for and how to give it to you and that kind of information. So most definitely, I think it's a connection to like multiple different sources of ourselves as well. That the way we can use AI.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to how you use it, how you're utilizing it. Being afraid of it, it's life, New things are gonna, maybe AI in 5-10 years, it's not even AI anymore, and we're using something.
They may call it something else, some type of ultra source and intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't be afraid of AI. I think it's a good thing for humanity. Depending how you use it,
Yeah, I feel that people that live out of fear is what kind of makes it, makes us stay in the same realm every time. Is just people being afraid of change. And that's something, once again, that's something that Aquarius does. Aquarius is not afraid of change. We might feel a little bit scared, but at the end of the day, it's like we gotta pull through. And if we don't have any change, then we have any growth. And I think that's one thing with Aquarius, that if you're an Aquarius that's really aligned, because I don't know, I only know myself as an Aquarius. I've met a couple of Aquariuses, but I've never like had a friendship with them. I had more friends that are Geminis than anything, and more people that I attract are 100% more Geminis.
That's right, baby.
Okay, relax.
Gemini season.
But I feel that the reason I get along a lot with Geminis is because they're very upfront and they don't sugarcoat things, right? And I feel that that's what this age is about. It's like no more sugarcoating, and that's literally what's happening right now with like Gemini season. There's no more sugarcoating.
And we're both air signs too.
What happened?
And we're both air signs too.
Yeah, we are. And we are both air signs. So, like I said, we are in the age of Aquarius that has not been like that in years. And we bring rebellion. We bring also, we love technology as well. I love technology. You guys have no idea how much I love technology. Like, I feel that when there's like a new laptop and it has new features, like to me that's like that's fucking cool. One thing that I really don't find cool until like they really got an upgrade is like phones. I had to get a new one, but look how cute this is. Look how cute my little case is. It's so cute. But if I have a phone that can work and that's going to do the same thing as the next 20 models, then I don't want it. But if you're going to give me one that's going to like be like super cool, where my screen is going to pop out and I'll be able to see movies like that and everything, I'm buying it. But if there's nothing else, or like cameras, I love cameras. I love documenting life. And I think that that's what this age of Aquarius is also doing in this time, is people are documenting everything. Like social media is such a big thing now, and this is why it's such a big, this era is changing into the creation era, where people are going into more into their craft and less into like regular jobs. And I'm not saying we don't have regular jobs, but I feel like everybody else is starting to kind of wake up and be like, we can make money in a different way, and we no longer have to work 10 times hard like our parents or our grandparents or our ancestors had to do. So but with that being said, since you're a Gemini and you're so proud of it, give us a little bit about what a Gemini is.
Gemini, first of all, is not two-faced, which is multi-dimensional thinkers. We're always in our head thinking, right? Sometimes you might come up to us and we'll be all bubbly and giggly, and sometimes you might come up to us and we're a little serious. When we're serious, it's just we're thinking, we got a lot of messages coming through.
I'm so not used to that. I think that shit's so annoying. I feel like that's bipolar.
We're just focused on a thing where there's information coming in. We just gotta let us process that information. We're also very distracted. That's why we're two-sided minded. Whereas like, so distractions can distract us a lot, and then we forget things. I'm sometimes very forgetful at a lot of things. I've been getting better at it. I have.
You really have.
But,
before it was a lost cause with him. I was
like, yesterday. I don't know.
I was like, he lost, and I ain't putting him in the lost and found bin. That motherfucker lost. That's it. He gone. Yeah, no, he definitely had. You had to do a lot of mental work. I feel like you've started using your brain maybe once you started dating me.
No, I already have. I've been doing my work before you, buddy. But you are a big help for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But we did watch the Bob the Czar documentary yesterday. I think it came out on Netflix. It was.
No, it's on Prime Video.
Prime, yeah. But if you guys haven't seen it, a lot of what you guys are not familiar with Bob the Czar. He's been around for since the 80s, I think. Probably even earlier.
Early 80s, yeah, early 80s.
It was around the 80s. He was kind of
not kinda.
He was the first kind of people to bring a lot of this more to light.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as alien UFOs,
he's probably one of the first whistleblowers, because he seemed like a whistleblower in this era.
Yeah, he's
definitely seen as a whistleblower in the 80s, which I'm pretty sure it must have been really hard growing up in the 80s and being a whistleblower, because people are going to be like, you're fucking crazy. Like, what do you mean you work for the government and they're testing on aircrafts, and they test on aircrafts before the crack of dawn type of thing, So that's I must have been super hard to grow up in that era, because just imagine, I mean, he lived in Las Vegas to begin with. Mm-hmm. He lived in Las Vegas. He worked
big old dust ball.
Yeah, he was with the S4, which the S4 is a secret base in Las Vegas that is next to Popos Lake, I believe. Popos Lake is something POPPOS. I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. And nobody believed him that base was under the mountain, which we've already known there's a lot of bases that are under mountains and they just cover them up. And in that documentary, he talks about how, he got hired and all that good stuff, but he wanted everybody to know what was going on, and he was interviewed. And now in this era, I feel like a lot of these can talk about it, and now people are like, oh yeah, I believe you, but imagine how hard it was to grow up like in their own time. Imagine us knowing what we know, growing up in that era, and that era was not that long ago. Like, bro, that's it.
We'd have been blacklisted. Men in Black would have came for us.
Oh, bro, like, it would have been bad. It would have been super bad. Like, these conversations that we're having are back then would have been like, the fuck are you talking about? No, there's no base under, no, like, like the Dulce base too, that's in New Mexico. Me and my brother used to always look it up. I think that was my first base that I was obsessed with, because it was meant to say that it had 6 levels, and there was aliens testing on humans, humans testing on aliens. They were trying to come up with how we used to live back then with the aliens, where they were half human, half animal. And so I'm telling you, this was back into the early 2000s. Me and my brother were probably super obsessed with that, and then my obsession with the aliens just grew.
Definitely bases in the mountains for sure.
You've experienced some
I've
stuff.
experienced some things, especially out here in Vegas. This is a big desert. Just so many bases you can find out here if you look for them. But they are also protected, so definitely have to be careful now.
Yeah.
I know there's one base that they made open to the public now, just because so many people would go hiking, they'd find them, and they're probably like, yo, like, what the hell is this? And then, you have whatever, the security guards kicking them out that work for that base, or just people end up missing and can never find them again.
Yep.
But there's been definitely, even go on YouTube, I think there's a couple of documentaries, and there's a couple of videos of people that have gone like hiking through the mountains and find bases and stuff. Some abandoned bases as well. But, definitely Lake Mead has a lot of things. I've seen things out there that at a young age that I couldn't comprehend until now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, another story that I recommend you guys to look into would be Chris Belson. I'm not sure. I'll put him up here, but it's he is the writer of the UFO of God. I believe he has another book coming out soon. He's an older man now, but in early 1970s, he practically got abducted, and they believe that he saw Lady Fatima, which is the lady that appeared through the 3 little kids in the Bible. And even the Vatican is like completely invested in his story, and you guys should really look into him. You guys should really read that book. It's probably one of my favorite UFO stories that I've heard of and that I read about. So I think that's another one that you guys would be really interested. Once again, back in the 70s, he does share how hard it was to grow up in that era. He was definitely into religion. So just imagine having a husband that was seeing aliens, and I'm pretty sure like today, 1970s, they were probably like, well, he has a pact with the devil type of thing. So that must have been pretty hard on him, but definitely check it out.
Yeah. One of the things I really want to touch base on, especially with Bob Lazar's documentary, which was interesting to me, was how he talks about the propulsion system, which he was working on. I think he still works on it to this day, but which is what he was working with in science. In our previous episode, we talked about the missing scientists and researchers and etc., which they also in some way, shape, or form either worked with that same system or similarly within that work area.
Projects.
Yeah, same projects. And it's just interesting to me that what he talks about in the documentary is kind of what has been brought up to light now. And like now they're pushing all these different things where like for instance, Bob Lazar's documentary talks about that, which he's bringing light into that, where even he talks about like he used to work there, but they started investigating him, and there's like, oh no, he doesn't work here. We never heard of this guy, type of thing. And in today's age, we have just scientists disappearing because they know too much of all the things that have been happening. And one of those, missing scientists was apparently recently found like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, which was Melissa Casillas, which she also worked for Los Animals National Laboratory, which is also mentioned in Bob Lazar's documentary. So you can see I can start connecting all the little dots. And apparently she was found, or her remains were found at a national park, which I think she's been missing for like over a year and a half now. So it's kind of odd to me too that a lot of things happen in national parks, which I think we spoke about in one of our first episodes that we started making, where we believe that national parks carry like this energy of like multi-dimensional vortexes and whatnot,
and portals and all that.
Yeah. So once you see, if you guys are interested in Bob Lazar's documentary, I think it's really interesting. If you're, especially now that we're talking about UFOs, governments releasing UFO files, so a lot of these things start like connecting together. One of the other things I also wanted to talk about is dreams, right? Do you think dreams, or first of all, what are your thoughts on dreams? Like, do you think they're connected to different lives of ourselves in a different dimension when you start dreaming? Like, for instance, you have a dream. If you have a dream last night, and in that dream you see all people around you, but you're like, oh, I don't know these faces, right? Usually, it's like most of the senses that we feel and see in the dream can sometimes even feel real or feel familiar in a way, right? Like, you look at somebody, for instance, if I were to see you in my dream, but you don't look like you in this lifetime, but I'm like, oh, that energy feels familiar. And maybe it could be connected to like a different source, different timeline, different.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on dreaming and how you perceive them?
You don't want to go first?
Go ahead.
Oh, let me tell you. Let me tell you what I know. No. Well, I feel like dreams are multidimensional because sometimes dreams are astral projections. They're not, and astral projections can be different dimensions of us that exist in different times. According to how I understand my dreams now, sometimes I have the same dream 4 times, and it might be because I'm either repeating something that I have not learned the lesson of and my dream is trying to show me, or according to the messages I get at the end of my dream, because I always ask what was the purpose of this dream, and that's something that I've gotten better at doing, and honestly just unconsciously the answer comes to me when I'm done dreaming, is sometimes are versions of me that I will never step towards, and sometimes are versions of me that are waiting for me to step into that. So I feel that dreams are a guide to things that you no longer are making decisions of. So there's this video that I just recently made, and it talks about how decisions are portals, and it kind of talks about how we switch timelines through decisions. So in my dreams, I feel that it tells me this is a version that you will no longer see or you will ever experience again because of the decision you made today. Or this is a version that's waiting for you because you have yet to take that decision and to live this part of your life. And I want to show you how good life can actually get. So I do believe that it's different version of us. I do believe that our higher self, if we're too crowded with too much noise in our head, the best time to approach you is when your mind is silent, which is when you're sleeping, right? And what's the best way to get that is when you're sleeping, because nobody's talking to you. That's the best form of meditation, I guess you can say, your sleep. And so I do believe that there could be ultimate dimensions that you have never accessed and will never see, or there are dimensions that are waiting for you to tap into. So what about you?
Yeah. I don't know if I can say I've experienced like negative dreams, because I think all my dreams have been, I guess, just seen in like a third, what is it called, a third point of view, third person point of view, and they've never been like a negative, but I think it gives me like a glimpse, right? Almost like a vision of, if you make this decision, this can happen. It can go this way or it can go that way. So I view dreams as they kind of like give you answers that you may be seeking, or sometimes if you're not even seeking answers, and it could be kind of like a guides to the next steps of your life. Yeah, I think, like, I guess the only bad dreams you could say is like sleep paralysis, but they haven't really been bad in the sense of like crazy shit's happening. It's just been like I see something, but in that moment I'm like, oh hell, now get me out of here.
I feel like I've
gotten better with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you understand your sleep paralysis now, though. I feel like you have more control over them, because you realize that you have the ability to move, and you have the ability to get out of a situation. And I feel that people forget that in our dreams we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. If you can control the mind, you can control your dreams.
Shit.
But we also want to talk about the back rooms, because I think that also is kind of interesting, and what they released or how they created that movie. And I don't know, it was interesting in seeing that you can enter like a realm full of like pretty much like a maze, right? Like I can enter a door right now, and then there's door leading to like a million other freaking doors in one place. Almost like stepping into a portal to a maze, pretty much.
Right.
So I think it was interesting, but how can I say it? Well, I guess, what do you think is it that this person was stepping into in that movie? Like just a bunch of different doors to like different things. Do you feel like that's like something human made, where like people can enter and just get lost in there, or is that like a creation of our own mind?
I think Backrooms, the movie, if you guys have not watched it, is a movie. And I mean, I've seen people say that these backrooms actually exist. But from what the message I got from Backrooms, I feel that it's the games we play in our minds. It's the rooms we create. It's the portals we create in our mind. And the portals are decisions. It's like, for example, he was upset because his wife kicked him out of his own house, right? And he was driven by ego, and he was like, it was my house, I put her through this and this and that, like, you know. And to me, that showed me that he was never doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He was doing it so he could be like, you have everything because I gave you everything. And I feel that was such a big impact in his life that it created a huge version of himself with his ego, to the point that when that big version came out of himself, he made him upset. And pretty much, I'm not gonna say too much, but so I feel that it's the shadows we don't acknowledge, the fact that how maybe sadness or anger can take us to a spot that can put us in an infinite hell. Because to me, that was like an infinite hell.
Yeah.
Like you're just like in a loop. So
yeah, I guess you can describe it almost like, you know how something happens to you and people are like, oh, just put it in the back burner, put it in the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of doing the same thing, always putting it in the back burner, putting it in the back burner. Oh, everything's fine. You know, nothing's wrong. Everything's working perfectly fine. We're moving along. But in the back, he's just like storing all this guilt, fear, whatever, you know, all these emotions, just trying to bury everything down to where it got to the point where he created all these different
monsters.
Monsters, timelines in the back rooms, pretty much.
Yeah, and that also showed kind of like how not only did he put everything in the back burner, but like he kept saying that he was an engineer, right? It was an engineer or architect. No, architect. He was an architect and he owned furniture spot. And maybe we could, a lot of us can relate to us, because I could probably relate to that. And that really kind of opened my mind, because I just like to dissect how certain movies can reflect of how I'm in my life, because I feel like some movies and stuff like that come to us to kind of open our minds and reflect in our own thoughts. And he didn't want to own a furniture spot. He does not. That wasn't his dream. Like, his dream was to create and to become an architect and to flourish. But that also, I feel that if you're with someone and you feel that at the end of the day you're gonna feel resentment because you're helping them achieve a goal and you're never going to achieve yours because you're getting older or whatever the case is, then I feel like either that person's not for you or you really need to talk to this person about it, because then you create these monsters in your head and you keep putting in the back burner and putting your dreams in the back burner too. Because, and I feel like that's also like a huge message for men, because I feel like a lot of men, I'm not trying to bash you guys, but like a lot of men take care of their woman, right? And like they work. They're in like blue collar jobs or whatever. And the woman sometimes just like does what she wants, which is like, you know, she goes to Pilates and she does her thing and all that cool stuff. What's it called? No, but like for real, like, you know, but then at the same time, if you want to have a partner that also is helping you get to that, then you should talk about that. And I feel like that's one thing that he didn't do that is very engraved in men's minds, where it's like, oh, like I'm the provider, so I'm a provide. But then what about like the other dreams you had, you know? Like what if you want to create, I don't know, a cool ass car, but you never have time because you're always working, and then by the time that you get to the weekend, all you want to do is rest, you know? So that's something that I also got from that movie, from Backrooms. It was just kind of like, well, he filled himself with guilt and resentment because he was trying to please her to have kids and go to school, like was putting her through school for law school, but yet he was putting himself behind. And in those moments that he was putting himself behind, he was getting stuck in his head. And I feel like a lot of men are into the mental game. So once again, I feel like that was kind of like trying to awaken men that they also should pursue their dreams, you know?
Yeah, not only pursue their dreams, but ground themselves, create a balance in your life. You know, I think also what it was describing was like the old school way of thinking, like the old school mentality, where it's like, all right, now just the man provides, woman stays home, where the woman does this, while the man just goes out and does it. I get it. Some people like living that way, but you know, we're in 2026 where things are changing, you know, right? They're no longer how things were 30, 40 years ago. A lot of things have changed. And I think it also kind of gave that message where, like you say, you know, men also need to start taking care of themselves, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. Because I think men are the first to kind of lose themselves mentally wise, right? Mm-hmm. If you're unbalanced, if you're not, you know, taking care of your inner self, you know, a lot of men can get lost a lot of men can get lost in drugs, alcohol, all kinds of things that maybe to them it doesn't seem like it's bad, which I'm not saying it's bad or not, but obviously there's also needs to be like a control, right? You need to have a control over these things and not let these things control you.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, if you got a shit ton of money and you also got time to go take care of yourself, like as a man, because I feel like a lot of billionaires, they have time to take care of this, because like, you mean, they have people working for them, you know what I mean? But I feel like we have to learn that if you didn't come back from that background, unfortunately, like, both of you gotta work. Just saying, like, you guys both gotta like try to find a way to make more income. Shit, if you got a shit ton of money and all you care about is your girl getting all pretty, going to work out, and you go get your time in and you work out and you make your money, then this is not for you. Like, this is not for you. But if you're a man that, like, we all didn't grow up with the luxury of having a shit ton of money, and but I'm pretty sure if my husband had all the money in the world, I would just be going to Pilates, work out, cook, because like, I mean, I love cooking, and I would be doing all that wifey shit that I would have time for, and maybe like just pick up a little hobby here and there, have my little garden and stuff, and he'll probably be happy because he would be able to go to his Muay Thai classes, be able to go do all these things that he also has to do, because at the end of the day, he's just making a shit ton of money. So, but I also think that just puts us in that there is more people, the backrooms was saying, there's more people that are still struggling to make ends meet, and people want to have kids and all of that, but it puts other people into a mental state that sometimes creates monsters and it makes them into who they're not. So yeah, but enough of that. This became a fucking therapy session, so that was not the intention.
It's good. We give me a little therapy session. But yeah, one more. The Boros TV show that the creator of Stranger Things made. I do want to talk about that as well, because I think it takes a unique perspective in the way they created that show. Because if you think about it, right? And if you guys haven't seen the TV show, I might give you a little bit of spoilers, but it's a really good show. It takes an interesting perspective in, I guess, in the way the things that they describe is kind of like Hollywood, monsters coming out at night, which is really interesting because in the show, there was this person who owned this big land who was for like a senior citizens community, and everybody there was just only senior citizens, so they had basically everything. They had like a hospital, they had housing for the people that are living there, they had like a mental institute in case like people go crazy or they have like Alzheimer's and they forget things, so they're taking care of them in that way. But at the same time, they knew of and had these monsters that would go kind of like collect some kind of liquid from the human brain, which they would then use for themselves. From the monsters collecting that, they would give it to like the main monster, which in the show they called the mother, which was like the one that would send the monsters to go collect. They would come back, feed it to her, and then the humans there, since they wanted immortality, they wanted to be young forever, continue living on years and years. And they would then dissect the blood from this person they called the mother, give it to themselves, which will heal them of everything, sickness, illness, all that, make them like young. And I think it took an interesting perspective of that, because if you look at Hollywood now, it's kind of become that, right? Like there's 50-year-olds who look 25, 30. It's like how, like, you go back 20, 30 years, 50-year-olds, they were 50 years old. 60-year-olds, they were 60-year-olds, right? And I don't know. I think it's a very interesting thing that they did. I don't know if like they're trying to bring something to light. At the end of the day, these are just theories.
Conspiracies.
These are just theories, but at the end of the day, we also know that sometimes they portray more than what is spoken about in movies, shows, etc. But what were your thoughts in that show?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a cool show. I guess, yeah, I mean, you can compare it to like all these rituals that these celebrities are prone to do. Also, like how they get people or kids to give them some type of serum. Like, these are just conspiracies. So, I mean, it could correlate to that. But I think it's just cool that the fact that 50-year-olds no longer look like 50-year-olds. 60-year-olds no longer look like 60-year-olds, because I expect myself not to look 60 when I'm 60. Honestly, like, I'm not afraid to get old, but I also don't want to look ugly old, because then there's cute old and then there's ugly old, and definitely don't want to be ugly old. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that's just also part of the technology that we're also advancing in. Like, there's a lot of more treatments for your face, for your collagen. There's a lot more treatment. There's cryotherapy, there's red light therapy now, and I feel like that's my perspective. It's just like, also we have all this technology that's coming out that rich people fortunately can afford it. Unfortunately, people our class not yet have access to that in a bigger sense. Like, you can't go somewhere without paying $300, yeah, you can't. Like, you have, like, if you want a lymphatic massage, $200. You want something done, like a whole facial done, that's like almost 300, 400. People can sometimes afford that. Fortunately, we can, but there's people that can't afford that. So, but I feel that at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, it could be about the rituals that are happening and how people supposedly, their celebrities, use kids' DNAs to insert it, which there's actually this guy that Christian was showing us last time, and that he's like Asian. Once again, Asians really don't age, just saying. But how he was reverse aging and he looks younger than his son at the moment. And he pretty much, what he's doing is he's using his son's young cells, blood, inserting into him. And he looks fucking young. Like, he's like, his son is voluntarily giving him the blood. He enters it into himself, and this guy is like literally reverse aging. He looks younger and younger.
Yeah, doing a blood transfusion.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me because I feel like I feel like when I reach my 30s, I'm gonna look way younger than I look in my 20s. I don't know why, but I just always had that feeling that people are gonna be like, that I feel like I look old as fuck in my 20s, and I feel that as I get older, I'm gonna look younger, which is, I don't know, just my thought. Because there is people, like, if you look at some people, it's like some people that I've met, I'm like, damn, you look way better now that you're older than you looked like when you were in your 20s. You were kind of ugly when you're in your 20s, you know what I mean?
I think it just comes down to how you take care of yourself as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Vitamins, eat properly, work out when you have the time. I think we're just in the age now where both men and women are starting to take more care of themselves than before. And then, yeah, there's just so much new, like how you explain, much more technology coming out now where you can take care of your face, your skin,
your bones,
your body, bones, everything. I mean, you can find a vitamin for everything nowadays.
Yeah.
Which,
and herbs.
Yeah. Which in that also comes down to like the food, right? Like fast food industry. We know the fast food industry is just, it's crap food. You shouldn't really be eating that. Try to get yourself, learn how to cook. Doesn't have to be the best cooking, but you'd get more nutrition out of your food from a home cooked meal than a fast food meal.
Yup. Yeah, I don't know. Lately, I really can't eat a lot of fast food. It really triggers my stomach a lot, and I feel like it's just, not that it has gotten worse, but it just, my stomach isn't okay with artificial food anymore. It's, yeah, which I feel like it's great for me.
Yeah, and also whenever you guys can, do a cleanse. We did a cleanse like a month ago now, and honestly, you feel great. I think it's just always good to do these things because it also helps not only boost your immune system, but it helps you just live better, gets everything moving in your system properly as it should. So it's always good to do like a little cleanse. All right, guys, enough of all this other topics. We'll get right into what we're going to speak about, which was Uranus going into Gemini, which is a rare planetary phenomenon that hasn't happened in a very long time. The last time Uranus was in Gemini was from 1941 to 1949. So that was quite some time ago. We're going to dive into what can happen, as well as some of the changes that you may feel with this alignment, and which is also going to be staying. Uranus is going to be staying in Gemini for over 7 years. So it'll be from 2026 to 2033. So, what is Uranus and how does that work? Uranus is known in astrology as the Great Awakener, the planet of rebellion, innovation, disruption. It breaks systems down that are outdated and introduces radical evolution. Astronomically speaking, Uranus takes about 84 years to orbit the Sun, meaning it spends roughly 7 years in each zodiac sign. And it just happened to land this year on the sign of Gemini. So that's how this whole topic came about. Energetically speaking, Uranus doesn't ask for change, it forces it. And one of the things that it will be forcing, which is what it rules, will be technology, revolution, sudden breakthroughs, shocking events, awakening the conscious mind, those sort of things. But speaking on those terms, do you believe chaos is necessary for evolution?
Yes.
Yes, you got a list.
I mean, how I said it earlier, Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. Well, Uranus rules Aquarius, and that's our main planet. So once again, like I said in the beginning, it's about rebellion, it's about chaos, and I mean, if we don't have chaos, I mean, I feel like humans don't learn. Once again, we're like super slow.
Yeah.
So if we don't have chaos, I think that's like something that triggers our mind and be like, we need to make a change like today, So 100%, we need chaos for growth. And if we don't get out of our comfort zone, nothing grows ever in our comfort zone. So yeah.
I agree with you, especially since Uranus being a rebellious sign. We're also in the Age of Aquarius, another rebellious sign, and Gemini, another rebellious sign. So you got 3 rebellions back to back.
Wait, which one? Which is the third one?
Uranus.
Uranus is a planet.
I know, but I'm saying like all these signs are rebellious. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I was like, what's the third one?
As I said, Uranus entering Gemini, which is Uranus is rebellious. We're in the Age of Aquarius, which also rebellious, and we're in the zodiac sign of Gemini right now, which is also rebellious. So that's what I'm saying. You got 3 back to back.
Yeah.
Which can be pretty chaotic.
I think that's great.
The Gemini signs are rebellious regardless. I think we just question a lot of things.
No, some of you guys
just always have to. Just have to question everything.
Some of you guys are annoying. I ain't gonna lie. I deal with a lot of Geminis, and I can definitely vouch that you guys are annoying sometimes. You guys, like, my husband's way too motherfucking rational. Sometimes I'm like, dude, just like flow. And that's one thing you guys really struggle with when it comes to Gemini. You guys sometimes struggle to just flow. Like sometimes you guys don't know how to go with the wind, even though you guys are air sign. It's like you guys struggle with that a little bit, because you guys are just so rational and you guys think about every outcome. Sometimes you just got to be like, okay, I know this outcome, and go for it. And I feel that that's where Aquarius comes in, because I feel like we're just like, well, I mean, we're going to do it now. Like, it's not like, I don't know. Sometimes your brain can really bother me. So it's just how it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
The only person who can understand another person is another Gemini. And then Geminis understand other Geminis. And I'm saying free Kanye. He's also a Gemini.
I know he is.
And that's why people don't understand him.
I understand him.
He's not crazy. It's a Gemini.
I understand Geminis. I just don't get your guys' stubbornness, because you guys are stubborn over the stupidest shit. I'm like, that's the difference. That's the difference. I understand you guys.
In this world, we're not meant to understand each other, but to just flow with each other. We're all different human beings. We all think differently. We all speak differently. We all
100%.
flow differently. We can all be the
100%.
same. Imagine we lived in a world where everybody was the same.
That'd be great.
That would
Because
be
then we
annoying.
all understood each other and we didn't got no wars. We ain't got no fights.
Nope.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think that everything would just work like a great machine if we all had the same mentality and we all thought that greater good was better? You don't think so?
I don't think a world where we all thought and moved the same and did everything the same. I think that would
I guess not. Yeah, you're right.
it wouldn't
because
function.
It wouldn't work. You're right.
Because think about it, if you're, let's say you're an angry emotional, and then now you're gonna create chaos out of nowhere.
You're right.
Especially if you're one person who thinks all the same.
That's true. That's true.
So it just wouldn't work. It would be a
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
you see.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, let's get into what is Gemini. What does Gemini represent? So Gemini is ruled by Mercury. It governs communication, information, learning, education, social interaction, transportation, duality. Because Geminis have
Two perspectives.
two perspectives at one time happening at the same time as I'm speaking now. Like I be speaking to you right now, and at the same time thinking someone else. That's how our brains work. But Gemini is the nervous system of the zodiac. They're very fast, curious, and adaptable. And with that information, do you feel that now that Uranus entered Gemini, do you think we're thinking or starting to think as humanity more independently, or we're kind of being pushed to think like how they want us to think in a programmed way?
I don't think we're being programmed as how I was back then, because we're talking about, like, to me being programmed is, sorry if this bothers a lot of people, but to me being programmed is like people that are constantly 100% religious and they're not thinking outside of that religion. All they're doing is just thinking of that religion. And if we're talking back in the 1970s, 80s, 60s, whatever, I feel like that's when people were getting a lot more programmed, because you couldn't leave your husband because everybody was going to talk about it. Now you look like a slut. And now it's like, oh, she left her husband? Great. Good for her. And like everybody can kind of independently think about their decisions, what they can do, what they can change, how they're changing, and kind of make their own independent decisions instead of being programmed. I don't think we're being programmed. I don't think this next phase is about being programmed anymore. I think about this next phase is acknowledging people's independence and acknowledging the fact that we all don't have to be the same, but we all can have a say in how we make our world, so no, I don't think we're being programmed.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's not about how things were back then. They try to push like you should be a certain way, etc. But I think now we're just like how we mentioned earlier, we're at the age now where people are starting to be more aware of themselves now. It's no longer like, hey, so and so, you're this, and then you're that. Now it's like, well, I mean, just because someone says something about me, that doesn't mean that's me. Like, maybe you're speaking in the sense of a version that was me a couple years ago. I've done some work on myself. And now I've changed. Change happens. Change comes. Change comes when change comes. At the end of the day, you can't push somebody to change. You can't force them to change. Change comes when they're ready for change, right? Because you also can't push and force somebody to be something else, because that'll also cause a big disruption in your nervous system, and they'll just spiral you out of control.
Well, this is why they had a lot of people committing suicide back then. A lot more suicides than now. Pushing them to be somebody they're not.
Yeah, for sure, can agree with that. Next phase, we'll get into Uranus entering Gemini, which we mentioned earlier will be from 2026 to 2033. So Uranus officially entered Gemini on April 25, and again will remain until May of 2033. So there's going to be a 7-year cycle of just mental revolution, especially for us Geminis, and the world as the cycles go through the different zodiacs. It's going to be a whole lot of change for the next few years. So what does this transition mean? It means when Uranus, which is the disruptor, in entering Gemini, as we're in Gemini season right now, which is the mind, because Gemini is all about thinking. It's constantly being in our head. So we'll get into the revolution of communication, which can come down to like, AI, media, social platforms, evolving rapidly. Sometimes you met somebody that you've met like a week ago, a month ago, and you meet them again. They could be a completely different person. You never know. It could be a lot of new things from forms of expression. But, definitely expect faster, shorter, or more intense communication cycles amongst yourselves. The technological explosion from, AI being accelerated, brain-tech interface, new ways of learning, possibly beyond traditional school ways. Who knows, maybe even in the next 5 years we even have any more schools. Definitely there was a talk not that long ago where they wanted to shut down schools and make schools more in-home now, like whatever, if it was like FaceTime, if even that, like who knows, maybe they even come up with a program. Now just kids have to do things online. We won't know, but time will tell. And then also with the Uranus being in Gemini, there will be a whole lot of rewiring of the human mind, which will be a shift in attention span. Multitasking may increase. People may start questioning everything. So these are just some of the things that can happen. Decentralizing of information, which comes down to, power shifts away from centralized narratives, rise of independent voices. Lots of things can come along the way with all these different shifts, planetaries being aligned. But do you believe we are evolving intelligence-wise, or are we outsourcing everything to AI now?
Well, I think we are growing, because how can AI grow if we're not growing, right? And like there's people that are now getting hired to program AI, so that we're growing and we're getting more intelligent 100%. Do I believe we're going backwards or we're giving it all to AI? No, I don't think so. I think humanity is finding better ways, one, to make you easy money and faster money, and money where you don't have to work as hard as our parents have to, and die and work until you're fucking
break your back.
And so I don't think so. I think we're entering an era where we're getting smarter. We're able to use our brains and mesh it with technology. So no, but what about you? What do you think?
I think we're evolving with it, because I would think it's like the next step in human evolution, right? Human and machine working together. So it's definitely the next step in humanity where we both coexist and work together. Although, we kind of already have with like different things as far as like different technologies exposed to us, but I think AI definitely is stepping up the game of humanity for sure. And again, AI will not ever be able to fully, rule the world, only just because I've mentioned earlier, there's so many things can get hacked right away easily. For all we know, these cameras can get hacked and they can all shut off right now.
Yep, 100%.
Like, that's just the way technology is. There's a code for everything. It was manufactured with the code where they can input this code into this computer system and shut it off instantly. Next step we're getting into is how Uranus entering Gemini changes Gemini energy, right? For starters, Uranus.
Uranus.
Uranus. It's Uranus.
I know.
Supercharges Gemini, but it also destabilizes it in positive effects, genuine level thinking, rapid learning, innovations in communication, creating breakthroughs, shadow side, which is working on yourself, some anxiety, mental overload, scattered thinking, information chaos, digital addictions. Gemini just starts to become genius completely, but can also be completely overwhelming. How would you describe you stay grounded in this hyper digital world? Just there's so many information now out there, so many new technologies coming out. How do you yourself ground yourself to, I guess, not get lost in the technological world?
Well, to begin with, I would say the best way to stay grounded is to travel, and the best way to stay grounded is to take a walk on the park. Best way to stay grounded is take a hike, touch grass, touch ass. I don't know. Not like for real. I mean, the best way also is to silence your mind, and not only silence it when you're sleeping, but also when you're just sitting in the couch and you don't want no disruptions. Like, put a little blindfold on and just get lost in your own thoughts and ground yourself and kind of see where you're turning, because having all this technology and also people sharing social media moments, people compare a superficial moment to their life, and I don't think that's fair. I think you should 100% ground yourself and see what you have to do next, not what everybody else is doing. So just, I don't know, take a hike, honestly. Do some sound healing, sound bowls.
Yeah, definitely. With all this technology coming out, you definitely do need to have moments where you detach from them so that you can reground yourself. For us, definitely, it's always, whether it's going to the park, me specifically, the best thing for me is going swimming in the water, go to the lake, go to the ocean, whatever. I just love being in the water. Not only that, but like when you submerge yourself in the water and kind of just listen to the waves, I think that's very therapeutic for the mind, especially being a Gemini, because we're always in our heads. So for me, that's very therapeutic, as well as meditating. You can even meditate now with music, whatever. There's different things, different ways to meditate, ground yourselves. I'd always say find what is that makes you happy. Like, find your happy place in something that grounds you, and just do that at least once a week, just so you're not over stressing your nervous system or your mind to where it just causes you to just tip out of balance.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. All right, and then I think the last thing for this is the last time that Uranus was in Gemini. We'll kind of get into the details of what happened in history. And let me tell y'all some crazy shit. So the last time Uranus was in Gemini, again, that was in 1941 through to 1949. So what happened? Well, World War I or World War II information warfare, that's where we started getting into that. There was massive use of propaganda for the radio. It became a dominant communication tool. Birth of modern technology. Technology started coming out around that era too. Early computers, radar, encrypted communication has evolved during that time. Global informational shifts. And, news spread faster back then than ever before, or the news was spreading faster in that era. Communication has reshaped society during that time. And let's see, the world information system transferred rapidly. Some earlier events and cycles that happened was the U.S. Civil War. So yeah, some early events that correlate with that would be like the Civil War in the 1860s, the American Revolution era, which was like the late 70s or 1700s. These periods were marked by ideological conflict, division in communication and belief systems. And those kind of like some of the things that happened the last time Uranus was in Gemini. do you see any like parallels between today and the 1940s, or do you think everything's kind of shifted in a different way?
Yeah, I do see the parallels, because one, I feel like we're entering into a new era of different communication, and we're talking about like aliens, you know. So we're talking about the holographics that we have. I mean, I feel like we're going to be able to break through a lot more onto that. I feel like a lot of people are more open to it too, and back then maybe it wasn't the best time, you know. People were having crazy discussions, and it was the era of our grandparents, and stubbornness was like their main thing. And definitely that. And then when it comes to the war, well, there goes Trump starting wars and shit. So 100% there's like, and if you see of anybody that has remote viewed, I mean, they all like predict that we might have a World War III. So it is very predictable that we might have World War III. So I do see the parallels. What about you?
Do you think these will have World War III with the like humanity itself, or you know how now where they're starting to bring out like different species, different UFO files being released? Do you think it'd be a human race war once again, or would it be different now?
I think it will be a human race. Nobody from the Galactic Federation is going to have a war with humans. Like, that's just stupid. Like, how can they live up to the value of saying that they're smarter than us, but they're going to feed on into the fact that they're going to create war? So, no, I think if there's anything, it's going to be a war between, which I don't even know what war we're doing now. I mean, we got everything. I mean, people are finding out that we can have a car running without gas. So, I mean, that's not a secret anymore, you know? And what is Trump fighting for at this point is like, I honestly, I have no clue what kind of war Trump is trying to start, because I'm like, we're no longer fighting for like land or the freedom of slaves and all of that. So what's the point of war? Like, I don't get why we're fighting with Israel. Like, I don't get it. I will never get it. So it's like, once again, I don't think it's going to be with non-humanoids. I think it's going to be between us humans, because yet again, we're fucking slow to learn.
Yeah. Time will tell. Hopefully there's a timeline shift, but who knows?
Well, I mean, what do you think? You think that there's going to really be an alien one? I don't think so, but all right.
No. Do I think humanity will try to start war with aliens? Yes. In the sense that just how humans think, right? If they see a big ship, what are they going to try to do? Shoot it down, try to do all these things. But obviously, how you say, you know, the Galactic Federation, it's also, we're talking different species, different technologies, different things, and that can literally just obliterate our planet.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, like in the age of dinosaurs, right? It wasn't, I personally don't believe a meteor came down, dinosaurs just all disappeared. I think what happened was, you know, different source wanted to take over the land, so they got rid of everything around so they could start procreating their own, whatever, their own race, their own way of living in this world. But like you said, time will tell.
Just a conspiracy at the moment.
I'm not saying everything that comes out of my mouth is fact or true. At the end of the day, we all have our own belief. We all have our own thought process, but we don't know. Moving on to the next thing is what to expect this time in 2026 to 2033. And that is, everything will become faster, smarter, more integrated. That means the mind will continue to evolve, which from, you know, learning to intelligence. Maybe there might be some truth in wars, which would be, you know, competing narratives, AI generated realities. Who knows what can go on from that point? Transportation breakthroughs. We can probably even fly from here to the moon in 0.3 seconds, or start opening pockets of portals where we can just, go from here to there in an instant. The new automotive system, which they're trying to push for electric now. No more trying to get rid of gas, which can help the environment, but we don't know. A lot of things can happen. But yeah, speaking in those terms, this is not just a change. It's definitely a mental dimensional shift for humanity. And definitely a whole lot more new things will be continuing to change, mental wise, electrical wise, or tech wise. And we shall see what happens within these next couple of years. Different revolutions, and AI is only going to continue to improve as it continues to grow. Yeah. And then, you guys see what's going on around the world, especially with the files being released. Who knows, maybe we even start coexisting amongst each other. Not that we're not already not coexisting amongst each other, but we'll maybe start now seeing them for who they really are, and don't have to hide anymore in the shadows type of thing.
How can people align themselves to this energy in a positive way?
How can people align themselves in a positive way with this energy? It just comes down to grounding ourselves, really. It's not a whole lot to it besides grounding yourself, creating a balance in your life. We know life can get hectic, things can happen randomly, but at the end of the day, you just gotta find that balance for yourself. Whatever makes you happy, try to spend time there. Not just always gonna be about work and partying and etc. You gotta find that balance and really just ground yourself. Anything for your Aquarius people?
The revolutionary is here. No, honestly, I know we are the most a sign that really does not give a fuck. Like, we really do not care. Like, they say Gemini does not care, but I really do feel like they're either like super loving or super like dry. And I feel like we're like, we could love something, but we really don't give a fuck. Like, at the end of the day, it's like it's gonna hurt us, but yeah, like, I feel like we're more emotionally intelligent when it comes to that. And that being said, I feel like we always get overstimulated with a lot of things that are coming and a lot of things that are changing, even though that's something that we thrive in. So just be open, meditate, be in the places you love, try new things, and just like be prepared for this upcoming years to be changing. And if your parents, just be open to the changes. I know that it can be a scary moment or a scary time to have children, but I also think that it's a blessing to be a parent in this timeline shift that we're going through, because the kids that are being born now are children that are 100% going to change the world in the next few years. And we might only be remembered in 2 generations from here and out, but definitely always make your time here memorable, because at the end of the day, you can be thinking about all these fast cars, all these houses, but the only way you will be remembered is how you made people feel and how humanitarian you were, and wearing your heart on your sleeve and doing things out of kindness and not selfishness. So that's not only for my Aquarius people, but that's for everybody, to just enjoy the shift that we're going into, because we're no longer in a shift where we are not allowed to think outside the box. We are 100% allowed to think outside the box. And I think things that when we think outside the box is now a gift, and it's something that people would love to have. So that's pretty much it.
Y'all heard that? Take notes. Yeah, Well, fellas, we close out this episode with, we're just entering a new era where thought becomes power, information becomes currency, the mind becomes a battlefield. But, Uranus and Gemini isn't here to destroy us. It is here to upgrade us in the best way possible. Change is inevitable. Change needs to happen regardless. And, some of us just don't learn the easy way. Sometimes change for us comes in a hard way. And at the end of the day, like I say, change is going to happen, and we just need to flow with the change and upgrade ourselves, either be better. Change is change. We can't stop it. But the real question is, will you evolve with the frequency or get lost in the noise? That's a question for you guys to answer for yourselves. But until next time, stay aware, stay curious, stay awakened. We shall see you guys here in the next episode. Thank you guys for supporting us, for being there, for liking, sharing, and commenting on these episodes. We really appreciate that. If you guys continue to do that as well to help us with the algorithm to push this information out. And little by little, we're just going to start integrating new things into the pod as well. And so, we might be taking a little bit more longer to upload, but we're working with different things to, help better in the way we produce this. But overall, thank you guys. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao. I don't know if the wife wants to say goodbye.
Adios.